Welcome to part 2 of the new player series for Warhammer Online, where as a highly requested topic, I will be covering the most useful and most recommended add-ons that's being used on Return of Reckoning that will quite literally change the way you're playing and make you a much more valuable teammate in any part of the game. Warhammer Online has a built-in interface editor that you can access through Escape, Customize Interface, and clicking Layout Editor, that will allow you to drag and move any parts of your user interface and customize it to your own liking or preference, which alone is quite amazing. The Customize Interface menu also has additional settings for you to create more action bars, change their direction, etc., so make sure to check those out. Next to this layout editor, Warhammer Online also fully supports add-ons, very similarly like World of Warcraft, that to install them, all you have to do is place your downloaded add-ons into the Return of Reckoning directory's interface, then an add-ons folder, and it's that simple. As a future reference, if you want to install add-ons, it is in the interface add-ons folder, but if you want to import another user's add-on settings, use a profile, or even back up your own settings, then those files are saved elsewhere in your Return of Reckoning directory's user folder, and then the appropriate server and character folder will contain all those personalized files and settings for each of your add-ons, settings, and key bindings. Now, with a proper and careful setup of your UI and add-ons, you can turn Warhammer Online from its normal and non-helpful look into a more enhanced version of that that's providing much needed information about yourself, your group, or your enemies, and vital mechanics to play the game well. If you don't want to mess with add-ons individually from zero, or you'd like to start first with using a pre-made UI pack to learn the basics, you can also visit the Warcamp website linked below that will have a couple of packs you can use, but I will also link below my own UI pack and also the website you can download them from. Perhaps the most important add-on I would recommend to anyone getting into Warhammer Online is called Guardpack. As I've mentioned a few times already in earlier videos, tanks here have a crucial ability called Guard that allows them to mitigate 50% damage off of another player in their party, thus giving your team crazy levels of survivability. The catch is that these Guard abilities have a maximum range to them, and if you're not tracking it carefully, you can very easily become just as useless to your team and be the receiver of some very unkind words. To prevent that, you can download Guardpack, an add-on that will generate a link between you and a DPS or a tank, depending on which side you're on, and will track the range of the Guard ability to make sure it's always on. Green meaning that you are in range and it's active. You can see my chosen is blocking damage that I guard off my chopper, but if I move away, the line becomes orange, showing it's already broken, but I only have to move a little bit back to fix it. And there's also red, indicating that you're somewhere in Narnia and you have to get to your DPS as soon as possible. Guardpack is an essential tool to learning how guarding works, and also to give you a good starting tutorial for its range, but generally speaking, most people find it so useful that they never remove it ever again. The next add-on that's a massive game changer for everyone, but especially for healers in my opinion, is called Enemy. Enemy at its core is a custom group interface, changing the default game's group windows into a more modern and clean-looking version with a bunch of useful information on top of it. It will highlight your team's careers, health, buffs, and debuffs on them, and it is fully customizable. By default, it will look like as shown on the screen right now, with fairly small frames for individuals in your party, and I personally have modified it to be a cleaner, more central part of your screen and show important abilities and skills on people, not just the default red and green dots that the base Enemy add-on shows. This is also similar how Enemy is configured in the FiskUI add-on pack if you would like to try that one out. Now, there's a lot of intricacies to setting up Enemy, and I can probably spend a whole other video going through every single option it has. So instead, in this one, I would only showcase the most important side setting it has, which is click casting. Click casting is essentially the option to allow you to click on people's names and health bars in the middle and use specific abilities on them, completely bypassing target selection and pressing your keyboard shortcuts. So now you just have to click nameplates, saving you lots of time and, in the case of healers, massively increase your performance and healing output. For example, on my shaman, I can set it up so that my left click here will be my base healing, then set up another click casting for my heal over time, and set it to be on shift click. You can also set this up for tanks, for example, so left clicking on someone will place guard on them, allowing you to guard swap allies on the fly with ease. Now whenever I'm in a group, I will be able to just click on someone to heal them, or shift click on their names to place a heal over time, which is why I cannot stress how huge this add-on is for healers, and I'd recommend everyone to start using it right away. So those two were the most important add-ons for Warhammer Online in my opinion, but there's a third add-on that I would still recommend to give you vital information, and that is Buffhead. Buffhead, very simply explained, is an add-on that shows the most important buffs and debuffs above people's heads, and give you the information you need in order to maximize your performance. The most simple example would be in the case of tanks. There are two immunities people can receive: Immovable, a chain for punts and knockbacks, and Unstoppable, a shield for knockdowns, both lasting for 30 seconds. If you want to use these two important abilities on an opponent, you definitely want to make sure they don't have these icons on them before that, or they will be immune and you'll be wasting crucial abilities. The very same thing can also be set for DPS players to track guard abilities or detaunt, so when you see those on someone on yourself, you might want to change targets or at least be aware that they are taking much less damage from you, and you might have to change your approach to the fight. Buffhead is also fully customizable, and you can add your preferred abilities to be shown above anyone, and if you need any help finding skills or their skill IDs to set this up, you can also use the War Ability Viewer tool that's also linked below, and find anything you would need. I would also briefly mention an alternative to Buffhead for tracking your own buffs, cooldowns, and debuffs on you through Aura. Aura is a more custom buff tracker where you can set up large icons appearing on your screen, let's say for keeping your Black Orc buffs on you for instance, and making sure they are always active on you. You can set up the icons for them, sound notifications, and even the timers as you prefer. It needs a little bit of tinkering, but it's really not hard to use. The next add-on I would recommend using is called Swift Assist, that helps you coordinate your fights more with your teammates. Swift Assist is quite simply an add-on that creates new macro keys you can use through escape and macros. The first one, with the arrows on it, that's setting up your assist target. Then the second one, the two swords, which is for selecting the same player as your assist target to attack. How you use it is simply selecting a DPS you trust or think is the most competent one on your team, and select them as your assist target, indicating them in the middle of your screen. Now if you set up the two swords button on a comfortable key, whenever your friend is going to attack someone in a fight, you can simply press this button and you will be targeting the very same enemy as them, allowing you to focus target opponents down, which is a vital strategy in group play, especially in scenarios if you want to play better. Moving on from here, the next few add-ons are not combat related, but are still very useful quality of life changes to apply to your game, and the first one is called Advanced Renown. By default, when you go to Renown Trainer anywhere, the basic interface for it is going to be an absolute mess that's hard to navigate and track which abilities are where, or what level they are even. Advanced Renown creates a brand new window for Renown Trainers that's just overall a huge improvement. It makes it easier to create your builds and being able to see what's happening. There's really no further explanation why this is so good. Now, just like in most MMORPGs, the final real endgame in Warhammer Online is also Fashion and Fashion Hammer. Pocket Palette is a simple add-on that lets you preview all the different dyes in the game on your armor and how they would look like by typing in /pp and giving you a whole plethora of options to test on yourself before having to spend any money or coins to purchasing dyes. If you're also chill and you don't really care about how others see you, you can also use the persistence settings for Pocket Palette, and you can keep the colors on yourself all the time, just on your side and for your own enjoyment of your fashion. And finally on the list of my add-ons that I would recommend is a fun one called Deathblow. Deathblow at its core is a kill tracking add-on that keeps records of your kills and deaths, which are really not high on my priority list. Instead, what makes Deathblow really fun to use for me is that it adds a very satisfying kill animation and sound each time you get the final death blow against the player, giving you a nice feeling of accomplishment each time it pops up, which I find to be a nice addition to the base game, so it's here as an option for anyone who feels the same. Those are my most recommended add-ons to use for Warhammer Online if you're just starting out. A quick reminder again that all the links can be found below in the pinned comment or the description of the video. And if you don't want to mess with any of them personally, you can also use any of them already set up add-on profiles that are as simple to install as dragging 2 folders into your ROR directory. If you have any questions or you would like to see a bonus episode explaining any of these add-ons further, please comment below. And if you watched the video this far, make sure to type in WAAAGH below so that I know that you've been here. Thank you again for watching, everyone. Like and subscribe for more Warhammer Online content in the future. But for now, take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.